News out recently that two of the Queensland Reds players who have been in hot water recently are now out of it. They're free. George Smith was in trouble in Japan. Apparently there was an incident where he didn't want to pay his taxi fare for whatever reason, jumped out of the taxi, and when the taxi driver tried to chase him down, he gave him a couple of hits. He was arrested, spent 18 days in custody before coming back to Australia. So yeah, he's been fired by his Japanese club, who he still had a year contract with. But for the Reds, he's only been fined, and he's not going to face any further legal action in Japan. So I guess a good news thing for George. From what I read, the fine from the Reds is more about the no-show and no communications based on his return to the club. So he's recently undergone surgery, and he had a pretty strict rehabilitation schedule to get back on, to try and get him back to match fitness as soon as possible. And well, he didn't turn up, and I guess being in a Japanese prison cell will do that to you. So yeah, he didn't let anybody know and didn't show up, so that's the reason he's been fined more than for anything else. So he's out of it, out of the hot water. And Karmichael Hunt, again with the cocaine. So apparently the charges have been dropped due to insufficient evidence, or they're going to be dropped. They haven't been dropped yet, but that's what the news is. So he is also going to be in the clear. Yeah, it's not the first time with cocaine for Karmichael Hunt. I think it was a couple of years ago, maybe 2015, that he was in trouble for that. So the Reds aren't commenting on his one yet, as it's still before the court. But yeah, apparently he's going to be in the clear as well, and his lawyer said he can focus on his training. Now, for both of these guys, it's going to be an interesting step going forward when assuming they do return back into the fold at the Reds. Hunt, I mean, he's kind of already been semi-replaced by Aiden Toa, who's come into the squad. Whether he gets his spot back is one for Brad Thorne to decide. And Smith, the fact that they've only fined him indicates that perhaps he is still wanted with the Reds. But yeah, I think the main thing that's disappointing is that the Reds are really a squad in rebuild mode. They've got a lot of young guys from NRC coming through, a lot of guys only going to be in their first or perhaps second Super Rugby season, and they need to be looking to senior players. I mean, 37 and 31 years old, both Wallabies, former Wallabies, so yeah, they'll be looking to these guys for leadership, for guidance, and Brad Thorne, I would assume, would be looking to get that kind of role out of these senior players, and then they're kind of going to be sneaking back into training camp with their tails between their legs, having been lucky to get off. Yeah, so it's disappointing, and it'll be interesting to see how Brad Thorne deals with that. We know from what he's done with Quade Cooper that he's not afraid to just kind of show guys the door who he doesn't want. So whether this or these incidents have any bearing on his selection decisions, well, we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, Brad Thorne's not that long retired himself that he can kind of take on that senior mentoring position from a player's point of view without the need for senior players to do so. So it's not like the situation where you've got a 65-year-old coach and you're a 18-year-old player and you don't feel like you can talk to your coach on that level. You know, he's still young enough and been playing recently enough that I think he can still kind of connect with the players in that way. So yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to see them back, especially Smith, the evergreen George Smith. But yeah, Brad Thorne's a hard man, and we'll see what he decides to do. All right, so we'll have a look at the Red squad in more depth, I think, in the coming days. was kind of holding off on the Reds to see what was going to happen with these two, and now that we know, I think we can start thinking about it. All right, catch you guys later.